And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us on the 7th of December, 2016. I won't make that mistake twice. Jeez.
I just wrote in chat that in my humble opinion, you're not an American unless you've been to Pearl Harbor and seen it up front. There's nothing more shaking than to stand there and watch oil still float to the surface.
To this day.
From the Arizona. It's astounding to think that is still occurring.
I'm not disagreeing with you. My only issue with that is for people like me that hate flying.
Oh, well.
Or just the cost associated.
The cost associated with it's huge.
And the second,
if you go to Hawaii and you don't go to Pearl Harbor, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. The second is the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown.
Yes. And I've seen that.
You must.
I've absolutely seen that. It's incredible. There's a couple videos on YouTube now of people who are at the changing of the guard who are being disrespectful. And it boggles my mind that you could go to something like that. And the same thing, the World War II Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, all those very, very important memorials to our history and our the fabric of our beings.
Have you seen some of the YouTube videos, however, of the response of the guards to some of that?
Yes.
They're not kidding
at
around.
All. They don't mess around because, you know what, to them, when you're in a guard like that, just like when you're part of the honor guard or you're part of the escort for fallen soldiers, you're not just standing a post. You're standing with a soul. You're protecting a soul. You're protecting a symbol for our nation on a lot of levels. And they know that. If you've ever watched, there's a great documentary about the guards at the Tomb of the Unknown.
Yes.
And to see how that affects them and what their duty is while they're there. And now you have to realize for a young guy who's in the military, physically, it's a very daunting task, right? You're standing your entire shift. You're walking, marching, if you will, the entire time. There's no conversation. There's no tweeting. There's a couple breaks here and there when you relieve shortly, and then you go right back to it. Rain, sleet, or snow, 24/7, 365. It is an amazingly daunting task.
And the pledges that those soldiers take for life. To do that.
Yep. It's pretty substantial. So I do want to start moving on into some other things, or we could sit here and talk about this all night. And not that that's a bad thing, but we're only on once a week. So I had this amazing opportunity on Monday to interview a guy who's become quickly my friend, Robert Rosenderry, The Patriots Walk, at The Patriots Walk on Twitter, Facebook, The Patriots Walk. SHR Media has become the official media outlet for the event, and we're helping out getting the message about this amazing thing. So the interview is on YouTube, and it's also on our Spreaker page, and it's just The Patriots Walk is the name of it. You can search it. But here's what this guy's doing. He left Los Angeles last night with his buddy Connor, and they are walking from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. via North Carolina to go by Camp Lejeune to raise awareness about Benghazi, but more importantly, to try to bring unity to the nation that he feels is so fractured. We're so divided, especially after this election with protests and all these other events that are going on, that he... And it started with a joke, as he said, but he said, hey, what better way than to walk across the country than to shake hands and meet people and thank police officers, firefighters, military personnel on the way. But just to kind of say, hey, this is just who we are. We're everyday people together, but it's bigger than our personal individual feelings about things. You have to understand that just because you don't agree doesn't mean that we can't get along. So he left last night. The last check, he's in the desert as of right now between Arizona and California. At 4 o'clock this afternoon Pacific time, he was about 100 miles from the Arizona border. And there's some updates going through on Twitter, going through on Facebook. If you go to the SHR Media page and click the Patriots Walk, scroll down to the bottom, there is a photo gallery you can click on. They're sending us pictures, and we're uploading them there.
Well, and they should listen to your show.
They should listen to the entire show. If you have a chance, go back and listen to it. Not for me.
You were live on Monday at 11
Yep,
o'clock.
Monday at 11 a.m. And it's not, don't listen for me. Listen for Robert, because it was a great interview, and because of him. It wasn't anything I did. But at the bottom of the SHR Media page for the Patriot Walk, you can also leave a comment that he's reading and responding to in the comment section. Well wishes. Just we're trying to find ways to keep them encouraged, keep them rolling, because it's going to be an exhausting task to walk across country and keep that motivation going. I know he's doing it. His dad was a Vietnam veteran who was killed in Vietnam. His brother was a Marine. He's doing it to carry that legacy, to do his part, and to bring this country together. I saw a negative comment tonight, which was so bizarre to me. The assumption that people on the left throw out. So we were on Twitter and we're having this conversation and just throwing some tweets around and supporting. And I'm going to see if I can find it really quick. But Robert is not only a conservative, was a major Trump supporter, but he's also black. So now it's he, Ken, Ralph, and Lonnie are the four that, we know. 5, Shannon. Pass to Shannon. I forgot all about 5. And one of the things, that got thrown out, and I'm trying to find, okay, I can find the thread now. So he puts out early in the evening at the Patriots Walk on Twitter, we the people will unite. Washington, D.C. here. I'm coming with a whole bunch of hashtags. And we're all giving him responses from the road, right? This woman responded. Her name is Adina Debbie. Oh, she blocked us and deleted her tweet. What a shock.
What?
She said, oh, look, because the picture that Robert posted of himself, he's got his bandana because he's in the desert. He's got a hat on, a pair of sunglasses, but it's also somebody took it into one of those Photoshop processing things, and it's not cartoon-esque, but they did kind of that, make it look like it was drawn.
Right.
Okay.
So you can't really say anything but the bridge of his nose and just under his right cheek. So this woman responded, oh, look, another KKK member for Trump dressed in his new hairdo or something like that, marching across the country. Not knowing, apparently, that Robert is not a white male Christian. He's a black male Catholic conservative. And I immediately responded, ignorance is bliss and knows no boundary. Here's Robert trying to unite when someone on the left is still trying to remain fractured. But just that comment and that
And she
assumption,
deleted her Twitter?
Well, I'm sure at some point she went back at some of the pictures and realized she wasn't even close to trying to...
What's his broad's name?
Her name? Oh, I'll show you her Twitter, because I would love it if people would send her a nice message.
Oh, yeah.
It was at Adina... Oh, now I got to go back to it again. Give me 2 seconds. I'll find it.
Yeah, hang on, because I'm jumping on Twitter right now.
Don't think that I won't do that either.
Can you imagine the ignorance?
Well, I'm going to ask her when the KKK started allowing black men in. Hang on, wait for it.
And you know what killed me is I immediately thought back to Fletch Lives. You remember that part with him and Cleveland Little?
Yeah.
And that's the second time Cleveland Little was involved in a movie with the KKK, because the first one was
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. Her name is at Adina, Edina.
Hang on, at what? Edina.
Debbie.
Hang on a second. Go again.
At Adina, Edina. Debbii.
Are there capital letters?
It's a
in there?
capital E and a capital D, but I don't think it matters on Twitter.
At Adina Debbie.
Yep.
Deborah Stragi.
Yes.
At Deborah Stragi.
So she deleted...
Regarding which tweet was that? Did she tweet you on that?
She responded to Robert's and ours as we were giving Robert words of encouragement as he was walking.
So did she block you?
Oh yeah.
So is that regarding at words of encouragement
Just
or hashtag words of encouragement?
hashtag the Patriots walk.
Hashtag the Patriots.
So
walk.
ask her why she deleted her comment about the Patriots walk. I'm just curious. And this isn't from...
Why did you delete your ignorant
Isn't social
Comment.
media wonderful?
about the walk?
About the Patriots walk, yeah. Because it just drove me crazy. And like I said, for anyone who hasn't listened, who may not know, Robert quit his job. He had very little time to come up with crowdsource funding.
Now, what?
Which, by the way, if you want to contribute, go to shrmedia.com, click on that page, and about 3/4 of the way down, you can contribute to the GoFundMe page.
What did he do, or do you know?
He was a cook,
Okay.
and he quit that job. He gave up his Christmas. He gave up his holiday season to be to do this walk for the nation. That's the amazing part is the amount of selflessness that's going into this. And when you meet Robert, it doesn't, and I said this before, it doesn't come over on video, it doesn't come over on audio. You can tell what a jovial, great guy he is, and he truly is. He's one of those people that when you meet him in person, the charisma is out of this world. Like, he's just that guy. You could tell everyone who's ever met him thinks he's awesome. His heart is bigger than his body, and his soul and dedication to this country and veterans, like I said, Benghazi, but specifically veterans.
Which Twitter did she delete? Because I'm going to reference it.
I don't, off the top of my head, I forget what her exact
I'll just go
words
at
were.
SHR Media Group.
And Jennifer's in the chat room, brought up a good point. He's very contagious. He makes you want to be on this walk with him. Even me, a chubby little fat kid with short legs. It's like, dude, I could see him having more people at the end of the walk that joined him, kind of like a Forrest Gump type thing,
Yeah.
right? Where, because his personality is that infectious, and he's
Now,
such a good guy.
Are there people walking with him?
His friend Connor's going with him to support. He left with him from LA last night. So he does have somebody with him, and they're going to make some stops along the way. They're trying to line up some people, to refresh some food, maybe wash some clothes, stuff like that. They have a minimal amount of money for hotels, but they're going to be living in tents most of the time. We're trying to raise more money at the GoFundMe page, so he doesn't have to live in a tent as much. Maybe give them a hotel room occasionally, and
That'd be nice.
a hot shower and some good food, which they can only do when the money hits the GoFundMe. So it is an absolutely awesome event. We are honored to be the official media.
Well, I
outlet.
just sent her a tweet.
Oh, very nice.
So I don't know if you have a way to check my tweets.
I do, and
Or
you're
if you can-
at Sackhead Clint.
Right. I
on
don't
Twitter.
tweet very often, but
But when I do,
when
I do, I tend to piss people off.
and if you do,
And if you do,
it's a very important thing. So,
thank you for retweeting me.
oh man, hey, anything I can do to help. So, like I said, it's a pretty enormous event, and they need a lot of support. At the Patriots Walk on Twitter and Facebook, if you search the Patriots Walk and follow the page, and the GoFundMe information. I'm going to actually pull it up, the GoFundMe page. Actually, just go to shrmedia.com, click on the Patriots Walk tab at the top, and it's about 3/4 of the way down the page. And you have all the links you need are right there to follow him on Twitter, follow him on Facebook, and be able to donate, because that's huge. He needs it. All the money, any money that's left over will be donated to veterans causes. So he's not making $1 off this, folks. He's not making $1.
Not $1.
Not $1. He's actually losing money because
Yeah.
he left his job. And I understand his job was very supportive. Ken says, "Hey, you tweeted all by yourself. Congratulations, Clint."
Is this camera on?
No, it's not right
Oh.
now. It is not right.
I was going to salute him with a certain.
digit.
Yeah. I was going to show him some sign language I learned.
You've gotten better at sign language. I'll tell you what, my friend.
Look, I can communicate with the best of them.
You
That's
sure
right.
can.
He
and
knows
I'm-
ASL backwards and forwards.
I am proud of you. So proud of you. So I
Are these
actually,
cameras going to be up and running?
they will be. We're still messing with it. We're not in full.
We're
bore
not
yet.
full bore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's
So look, I want to after the break. I know we're coming up on the break. I want to start talking about Trump as well as the some of his picks and so forth for his cabinet positions.
Oh.
I want to get to that, but
Some are luscious.
in 5 minutes, if you. BZ, you dropped Amazon Go on Sean and I
Yeah,
today. And that would have been a great surprise Sean segment, and you kind of bizzed it a little bit here. But I want you to talk about that, if you don't mind. We got 5 minutes. That's not like a 30-minute segment, I wouldn't think.
basically, if you go to my, it's very difficult to explain it in the short time that we have right now. If you go to my blog, it's the top post. But basically, what I think,
AppleOviatingZeppelin.net is
correct,
the
thank
website.
you ever so kindly.
Blog.
I think Jeff Bezos has just basically turned retail upside down.
On its ear.
And in doing so, he has or will end up alienating all the good little leftists and Democrats that once embraced him in one fell swoop. Because essentially, in a given amount of time, they're all going to lose their phony baloney jobs.
We have to keep our phony baloney jobs, gentlemen.
Yes. And the reason I said that is because there was a reference to Blazing Saddles.
Well, and it's one of those things. So essentially,
Here's what happens. Amazon they created an actual brick and mortar store in Seattle, in downtown Seattle.
yes.
You can go into this store and you can make certain selections of, at this point, food items. Mm-hmm. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, etc. You walk in, you already sign up and have an app with Amazon. The theory being you walk in, make your selection, and just leave.
And everything gets recorded to your phone and your Amazon account.
You get billed for it. And I mean, literally, there's no checkout. There's no waiting in line.
It's
You
crazy.
walk in, make your selection, put it in a bag, carry it with you, turn around, and walk out.
So, and here's one of the things, too. I know your phone does have to be on and connected. If you are a person who is techie and tech-friendly,
Oh yeah, it's me.
everybody but Clint, pretty much in the world, this is kind of a cool thing. Now, listen, I'm one of those people. I don't like using the self checkout at stores.
No, I don't
for,
either.
for
I
a lot of
complain
different
about
reasons.
it.
For a lot of different reasons.
Oh yeah.
Every time, and it's not Bill Burr, the comedian, this is his phrase, not mine, or his take on it, but I agree with it and I use it. Every time they're like, oh, excuse me, sir, the self-checkout's open, I always say, yeah, I don't work here. I don't work here. But on the other hand, I understand if you're rushing through life and you don't have time to wait an hour and a half in that store, right, for the line because there's less and less cashiers or whatever. It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea.
I understand this. I understand the threat of the credit being stolen and your identity being stolen. I understand everything that could go wrong with it,
And the
that's-
jobs that are lost.
the jobs. But listen, in Seattle, when you go to a $15 minimum wage, and all of a sudden Amazon opens a store that needs less people to run and will still make as much money, whose fault is that? Let me see.
Everyone
Yeah.
who insisted on $15 an hour as a, quote, living wage.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. One of the first cities ever to embrace the $15 an hour living wage was, in fact, Seattle.
Yes.
So what's the first thing that happened? All the little leftist businesses, who all the little leftists like to go in and patronize,
Yes.
were the first to shutter their doors and leave. Or what they did is they moved 2 or 3 miles across an imaginary line into Kings County, and then they flourished.
Yeah, like a machine.
Yeah. Weird.
You know, we're talking about
You know what?
job
If they're-
losses.
I'm sorry. They should be prohibited. Like, there should be written into that law, if you vote for the $15 an hour minimum wage and you own a business and you're a liberal, you should not be allowed to move.
Well, and I say it all the
You're
time.
locked in for like 15 years.
It's like it's like the law we wanted to pass in California that if you were an anti-gun owner or you were a Second Amendment, anti-Second Amendment person, as a Democrat, if you registered Democrat, you shouldn't be able to own a gun if you're against it.
Right.
No, and if you don't like Christmas, you shouldn't be able to have any of the holidays off.
Or
Right,
present.
you should have
Right.
to work it, right?
Right.
So it kills me that this happens. You know, Agador brought up, shoplifting's going to go through the roof. I almost guarantee you that the two highest paid employees in those stores are going to be security. Yep. And I guarantee that you're going to walk in, and even in liberal Seattle, there's going to be two guys with guns standing at that front door. And if you beep, God help you. Because they're just going to drag you to the ground. And they will set a precedence really, really quickly that you don't come in here and try to shoplift. Because if there's one thing Amazon is not good at is losing money.
Right.
If there's one thing they're really good at is keeping and maintaining their money.
Hang on. Is Gulf Dog, libtard, is that bad that I said libtard?
No.
Okay.
No, I think it's very expressive.
It is very expensive.
And I applaud you for expressing yourself, Clint.
Thank you.
It's nice of you to be able to come out and be who you are.
Thank you, because I hold back a lot.
You do.
You do
Someday
hold
you're going to
back.
come out of your shell.
You do
I
hold
hold
back.
back so much. One thing people say about me is like, gosh, that sackhead Clint guy.
I wish he'd come out of the closet
he
more.
sure does hold back.
Wait, what?
Again,
So to speak.
I mean,
Look,
wait.
isn't that odd? There's
What?
a closet about 3 feet away from
Yeah,
you,
and
right
he-
there.
he's-
Hey, look at that, folks. We're up against a break. When we come back,
We come back.
Trump's cabinet picks.
We'll talk about Trump finishing his cat. Well, not finishing it, but he's working on it.
Read the
diligently.
article about Amazon Go, Zeppelin.let. There are a lot of implications about that.
Well, if you just
Ta-ta, come back.
if you just aggregate it to SHR and then link it back, it would have been easier. But we'll talk
no,
about
yeah,
that.
it's okay. We'll talk about
It's
talk about that.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Cap was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Well, as you're asking questions and we're going back to air, that doesn't help me, Clint.
You're supposed to be a multitasker. I will have to remind you.
Yeah, that's me. I am barely,
multitasking all over the place.
Barely hold on at this job. Barely.
This isn't a job.
It's an adventure.
Come on.
Oh, if you check your Twitter, Jersey Joe, who is just a machine with stuff like this. The last segment we were talking about the
whack job.
Yeah, the woman Adina Debbie, who wrote a horrific post for Robert and the Patriots Walk. He actually screenshotted it. And
hers?
He sent it to you.
Perfect.
So you can see exactly what it says. Joe, I love you,
amazing.
buddy. I love you so much,
Thank
buddy.
you.
He found the original tweet?
Of course he did. It's Joe, man.
Oh, good.
If there's something filthy on the internet, Joe is all over it. I'm not going to lie.
And that's a great pick, too.
Oh, isn't that an awesome picture?
It is.
That's what made me more angry, is what a great picture that was.
Oh, man, that is so awesome. Hang on, let me retweet this. There you go. And I'm going to favorite that because that is absolutely amazing. So that means now when I retweet it, she's going to get that again also,
She should,
right?
yes. She should at least, it'll note that she'll get mentioned. And I hope you guys are sending her tweets because I think that's helpful.
Yes, but to help educate her.
Right.
And reform her ignorant self.
Right. And just let her be aware of the fact that she's just way off base with this march. I'm so passionate about that march now. I think it's just so great. And if she wants to reach out to me, it's at Edge of Liberty. And I'll be happy.
Oh, yeah, she's totally going to reach out to you.
I'll be happy to discuss it with her. She blocked us. That's
Call
so
me.
great. It's not often we get blocked. And the fact that we got blocked is outstanding to me. So, because that just really means.
Hey, Dave.
It's like a feather in your cap. It's like a victory.
Dave wants the retweet.
If you go to my Twitter, it's sitting right there. It's on everybody's Twitter right now.
Get it out.
Yeah. We got to move on. But yeah, it's right there. So, and she has her own website, DeborahStreak.com. So,
does she? Let's post on her website, too.
Just helping her out, right? Just helping her out. And somehow I'm not blocked yet, but I'll work on that. So,
work on that.
Yeah, give it time.
Give it time. Moving on to the Sackheads radio show. It is cabinet picks in the Trump administration.
And not just cabinet, some of his appointments for like EPA, OMG.
Yes. When you choose the guy who's suing the EPAs and Attorney General to head the EPA, I think that's going in the right direction.
Here's the great thing. This is wonderful. He meets with Gore, talks to him, and then does the exact opposite thing.
Well, he got input. That just look.
Right.
So Trump is a smart guy.
Of course.
Right? And look, we talked about Team of Rivals and him listening, and Trump is a very smart guy. So the fact that he had a meeting with Gore, right?
Yep.
And then says, "You are so batshit crazy. I'm going completely in the opposite direction."
That's exactly what he did.
tells me something.
Yes.
It doesn't tell me that Trump is a humongous right-winger that's going to do everything he can to piss off the left. It tells me that he sat down, listened to what the man had to say, and ended up thinking he was more freaking nuts than he actually thought before he went into that meeting.
And you know what? At the end of the day, when the people are like, oh, he doesn't listen and he doesn't want to work with the other side, blah, 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 this just shows you, hey, he'll meet with anybody, take the information that he thinks is best, and act on it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Thank you, Vice President Gore. I appreciate your input. And now we're going to go ahead and...
now go to hell.
Now go pound sand.
And it's a twofer because he didn't just pick a climate skeptic. He picked someone who's the Oklahoma Attorney General, Scott Pruitt,
who hates,
who is from a flyover state, and he's not from the left coast, and he's not from the Northeast. He's not an elite. He's from some kind of a red state, and everyone hates flyover states.
Yes.
And so he installed him as EPA head. How wonderful is that?
Well, you know, when you're busy and you got stuff to do, You can't waste time with it, right? I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing. And so, hold on. And that's just one pick this week that we've spent all this time talking about. So that tells you how important it is.
Well, or his pick for Homeland Security.
Yes.
And the left is freaky on this because it's another general, another member of the military that he chose. Oh, my God, can you imagine the heinous acts that will occur in Homeland Security because he chose a general?
Yes. And here's my favorite part. We've talked about picking people who are going to get the job done time and again. And so far, I think he has
So do you think
done a pretty good job of that.
Yeah. Do you think a retired general with over 40 years of service by the name of John Kelly just might know something about terrorism and knowing how to fight, when to fight, and do you think in that amount of time he might have made a few contacts along the way? I bet he has.
Yes. And you think he understands, just through his years of knowledge, you think he understands the threat to the homeland?
No.
And here's the other thing that I think he...
No, I don't.
I think he did really well.
Well, Jay Johnson sure as shite doesn't.
Oh, gosh, no. Not at all. It's crazy to me. But here's the other thing I think is great about that is the Homeland Security protection has to do a lot with terrorism, as we all know. A majority of the terrorist organization is overseas. And he will know how to utilize the military overseas to help stop the attacks here. And he'll be able to communicate intelligently with the military leaders the correct information that he knows they will need that will have been received during investigations here. One of the things that we saw with 9/11, and one of the things that everybody knew about, is the amount of miscommunication and lack of communication between federal agencies.
Oh, and absolute, no one would talk because no one wants to.
Right.
They were information hoarders.
Right. This is my nugget, and you can't have it.
And I'm not going to let you know.
And now he's putting people in positions that will work together regularly, who speak each other's languages, and these guys are to the level where you don't need to be macho.
Well,
they've been there and done it.
National Security Advisor General Mike Flynn. Gee, I wonder if Kelly's going to talk to Flynn because they might have just a bit of things in common between them. My guess would be probably yes.
Yes.
Ben Carson at HUD.
Yes. It's so funny with Dr. Carson. Everyone said, "Oh, well, he isn't what does he know about HUD?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, he's not a professional. He's just
right. He's a doctor who's just getting a bone.
A brain surgeon.
Right. He's just
That's
a brain surgeon.
He's just
That's
a brain
all.
surgeon.
And here's the thing. One of the things that I like about some of his picks is I feel that he's putting people who need a certain expertise some places, and then people who need a mindset of cleaning out in other places, and making all these gray areas and this influx of workers that aren't needed, like HUD, where you have Dr. Carson who will go in and look at it from a very strategic point of view numerically. And then you have the Wall Street guys, which everyone's like, "Oh, I thought he was draining the swamp. He's picking Wall Street insiders." Yeah, what better way than to fix Wall Street than the guys who lived, just like with him when he talked about his taxes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't paid personal income taxes because the system's set up so I don't have to. What better way to deal with that than have people who have lived it? In my opinion. Just saying. Am I wrong on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because everyone got really quiet and looked at me weird.
Well, you're over there yelling, and we're like...
And let's not forget one of the major picks.
For major, I didn't think he picked those personally.
Yeah, I thought he went all
I
the
thought
way
it was
to
more
generals.
like generals.
I thought he
and
picked
stuff.
up
I didn't
generals.
know majors could be.
Was there a major pick
Was
somewhere?
there a major somewhere?
There was.
I didn't. Huh?
I can't remember his name.
Was it major?
Major,
before-
major.
Before
Name the book.
major.
Catch 22.
Yes.
Whoa!
BZ.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Don't ask me why I
man.
remembered that.
Yossarian.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
I also want to point out, though, with Dr. Carson and a lot of the other picks, the all-white male rich cabinet that everybody was so focused that he was going to choose is not that at all. So, again, it goes back to picking people he thinks are right for the job versus fitting some agenda that he never really had. So I did want to point that out because I think that's something that the media is grossly overlooking for a group of people who love to point out any sort of incidents of race where it may hurt people's feelings and they know they can get people pissed. I think it's very important to point out that he's picking out a very diverse cabinet.
I'd like to talk about Mattis, but
Yes.
first I'd like to make a prediction.
Okay.
Everyone has been wondering who's going to be Trump's Secretary of State. I say John Bolton.
I think you're more and more right.
He's seen him.
Is that the guy, the singer?
That's Michael.
Yes,
Oh.
it is. Yes.
It was a great name till that no-telling ass clown started singing. Go ahead, sorry.
Here's
BC.
why. He's had 2 meetings with him already, and he's going to have a meeting with him on Friday.
Yeah, and you haven't heard from Mitt again.
I'd call that a clue.
Oh, I think so, and I think it's a very strong
On
possibility.
the other hand, can you imagine the bedwetting and the pants shitting hysteria that's going on in Europe and China and various other countries?
Oh,
When
yes.
you've got
Yes.
John Bolton. Do you think John Bolton knows his way around negotiations and diplomacy and knows when to cut to the chase? I'd wager he certainly does.
The guy's brilliant. I mean, I've seen him speak several times on Fox. Obviously, the guy is very well spoken. He's brilliant. He's succinct in what he's saying.
He's very incisive. He's very intelligent.
He is,
and he doesn't mind being blunt when that's necessary.
Right.
Which is huge.
So I think that would be a good pick.
Bolton's mustache will carry the day, according to Dave in the
for
chat
him.
room.
BZ, you brought up James Mattis.
Yes,
and I want to talk about him because he was the 11th commander of the United States Central Command, United States Marine Corps general, and I understand some of the hesitation with James Mattis because SecDef is supposed to be a civilian, correct? So in order for James Mattis to get the SecDef position, I believe he would need to get a waiver
Yes.
from Congress. Mm-hmm. And I understand why SecDef should be a civilian. I'm about to get fired on by all sides, including in the chat room, and I know this, so I'm bracing for it.
By the way, Clint's actually reading chat now, so if you want to yell at him, please.
Oh yeah, please
Yeah.
yell at me and
Cap
tell me why I'm
lock.
wrong.
Yeah,
Put-
Sean,
and
the
here's
techno
and
guy.
Cap locks on for yelling.
But here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about this is if a Democrat were to try and pick a career military individual for SecDef, I believe that many in the Tea Party would potentially lose their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a little curious about how this is going to go over. And I'm not saying that General Mattis is horrible at all. In terms of a man or whatever. But the reason SecDef has historically been a civilian is because there is a historic mistrust of the military.
Yes.
We are not supposed to be a military nation. Don't get me wrong, I love my military. We've talked about this over and over again, but we are not supposed to be a military nation. Our military is controlled by a civilian commander-in-chief. SecDef position historically has been a civilian because we want that additional civilian oversight of our military. It is another check on the system, another check on the military. And so to have a military general, a career military general, as SecDef is potentially problematic. And I understand the reservation from those that are raising the concern 100%. I completely understand it. As a conservative who is not for big government and is loves the military, I love our country, but I am for strong civilian oversight of the military. Having James Mattis in there as SecDef, look, put him in another position, but having him in there as SecDef, I have serious question about. Nothing to do with the man's qualifications in terms of the life he's led, the things he's achieved, the great career he's had. I have tremendous amount of respect and admiration for the things that he has accomplished. But for the position that President-elect Trump wants to put him in, that is where I have issue.
2 points. The director of the NSA has historically been a military leader. Always. Point number 2. Big Mouth Patriot rightly states Mattis is a civilian.
But not for the requisite amount of time for him to be able to take the SecDef position.
Yes, but
Well-
I will also point at the waiver that is accepted that you can get applied through Congress.
You can apply for a waiver, but this is why I'm telling you guys why I'm
No, I
hesitant
understand that.
about
Perfectly
it.
understandable.
He is a military guy, and he has not been away from the military for a period of time that he is supposed to be away from that. So if we are willing to bend the rules on this one, what else are we going to do that for? Again, not taking anything away from the guy.
Is it a rule bend, though, when we have a policy in place for a certain
Yes, for
qualification?
for an alternative.
Yes, and that's
So there
my
are mechanisms in place to account for that.
so
But you'd have to get the waiver. If it was
But here's the reason
if
why-
it was no big deal, why would he need a waiver?
Here's the reason why I think it's okay in this situation specifically. You look at it from, and you're right, I agree with the Big Mouth Patriot. It is an arbitrary number of 7 years. It's just a picked number.
I disagree. I think there's a reason it's 7 years.
But hold on, I'm not done with my point, and you can respond to that when I'm done.
Fair enough.
If you're Trump, you're coming into a military that is depleted numbers wise, depleted equipment wise. I mean, we've talked about special forces having to hand off weapons before they hit the field,
And morale.
You have a lot of waste that is being done by bureaucrats, but the morale is the most important. You are walking into a military that still has a fight ahead of it. We're not done with anything. And you need to have a morale boost 100% almost immediately. If you read, follow, and talk to veterans right now and active duty folks, they could not be more excited to have Mattis coming into this position because they think it will bring a respect back to a field that has been lost and destroyed by an administration for 8 years. So that qualification alone, in order to make our military members feel the pride that they feel in themselves from the commander-in-chief and from SecDef, I think is a good enough reason to have the waiver.
Okay. I disagree 110%.
Okay.
Somebody's feelings, that's a left argument.
No,
Somebody's
no, no,
hang
no,
on,
no.
I let
No,
you
it's
finish.
not.
I let you
No,
finish.
no, no,
Let me
but you
respond to
can't-
that.
no,
absolutely I can. You said their feelings
Right.
are what's going to matter, and if that
Morale.
makes them feel better for their morale,
Right.
then it's acceptable.
Right.
That is a leftist argument.
No, it's not.
Wrong.
To
though.
have somebody's
No,
no,
that's
I
not.
let you guys talk, so let me talk.
Okay.
I disagree.
If Yeah, you disagree? I didn't let you talk?
No, I disagree with your statement about the emotion.
That's fine. You can disagree, but I'm going to finish my statement now like I let you finish.
Okay.
Having morale built up, there are other people other than this one individual that can boost morale of the military. And we're also talking about military members. Again, I love the United States military. I am very, very grateful for the sacrifices those men and women make and the volunteer that they do by even joining and going into the military. But you can't tell me that there is one individual on the face of the earth that can bring about morale of the military. And we're talking about the military members. Those military people are the ones that need to have that civilian oversight. They have a job to do.
But you have
hang on a second. I let you finish, right? No, not at the SecDef position. And then I want to get back to that arbitrary 7 to 10 years in there that Big Mouth Patriot talked about as well, and talk about why I believe that's actually important. But I understand the need to have morale up in your fighting force. That I do. But you have lieutenants, captains, majors, colonels, generals. You have an entire chain of command whose job it is to deal with the morale of their troops. You have the commander-in-chief, who is a civilian, that is ultimately responsible, and SecDef, that SecDef position, is pretty far removed from the troops. And I understand, it'd feel good for them to have somebody in there that believes in them, but that is not a good enough reason to forego that civilian oversight for the separation that we're talking about now. If we want our troops to feel good, there's a lot of other things that we can do, and I'm sure there are other individuals out there, even if they have the military background, that have been out that requisite 7-year period for them to be able to come in and do that. If you're looking for morale and that's a booster, that's something that's important and should be looked at. But that's not the sole definition or even the most important thing to picking a SecDef. Now, the 7 years, hang on a second. I had another issue to deal with, and that was the 7-year thing.
But you're going to run us into a break. I'm not going to be able to respond.
You will respond because we can always pick up after the break, and you have the power of the microphone. You always remind us of that. So you can prolong the break. So the 7-year thing, you have somebody who was in the military with the connections and so forth that has been removed for a period of time. Stop arguing with me in the chat roll, BZ. That's not fair. If you
you can see it.
If you have, it doesn't matter. I'm responding to like 8 different people right now. So if you have somebody who's removed from that 7-year period, they have lost some of that, some of those military contracts. They've been removed from that lifestyle for a period of time, less than 2 terms of a presidency, and why they lowered it from 10 to 7, I can't speak to. I think 7 years being removed from that is a period of time to have sufficient separation from that to where you have most of the upper echelon that you would be kind of supervising and working with not be people you grew up with in terms of the service, to have that kind of cronyism or to have those ties of, hey, remember when, or hey, you owe me this, or whatever it is. So that's my statement on the 7 to 10 years. You can agree with it or disagree with it. So Sean, your turn to yell back at me.
Okay, so here's my issue with the morale, and you say this is a leftist argument.
I meant the feelings was, to be fair. Go ahead.
But the reason I say that the morale portion of it will change is because all the bullshit that the military is being forced to go through right now under the last 8 years, wearing the fucking high heels for guys and all this other shit, walk a mile in their shoes, all these other things that have changed over the last 8 years so dramatically that has destroyed morale that have come from the SecDef.
I agree with you.
The SecDef, so when I say morale, this is what I'm talking about. The implementation of changes that has to come from SecDef and POTUS to go down the line, the lieutenant, the major, the general, they can't make those changes. It has to be changed at the upper echelon. So in order
depends on the change.
The major changes have to be approved on the upper echelon.
Are we talking major rank or majors in big?
Major.
Okay. So I agree with you on that, but I don't think this one guy has to do that. I agree with you on your point.
I think to have somebody who has
I'm
the
getting
knowledge.
The pen pointed at me.
I know. Somebody who has
Clint's
the
not
knowledge
playing by the rules.
of what the military was just prior to this, and to be able to bring it, because the military was not the shit show the last 8 years have told us it was. The military was a sound force prior. So to have somebody who can bring it back that way and implement changes, when I talk about morals and feelings, what I will talk about the feeling of when you take a guy who signed up to give his life for his country and you put him in fucking high heels and walk him around. Yeah, that guy's feelings, that's not what he signed up for. That's to be put in high heels and treated like a piece of shit. And honestly, that's
nobody's arguing that.
Right. So, but you said, oh, it's emotional. If it's an emotional thing, that's a leftist argument. No, I'm not having a leftist argument. I'm talking about the implementation of different procedures and changes he can make that will affect morale. That was my discussion on that.
Okay, but
you
what you
threw a blanket on the emotion.
But what you said was their feelings absolutely count and everything
feelings
else.
When they're actually
and
allowed
that,
to
my
do their
point
job.
was, if you're talking about their feelings, that part of it is a leftist
But
argument.
their feelings when they
You're talking about James Mattis does not have to be the one. You don't have to be in there right now or within the last 6 months or a year or whatever to understand what they're going through.
But he saw it 7 years ago as it was starting to change, and he left, or 6 years ago.
Then be an advisor. You don't have to be SecDef.
I disagree.
Trump is a brilliant enough man
Trump
is a brilliant enough man to surround himself with people and for advisors to take that into account. And if he hires a good SecDef that meets the requirements that he's supposed to meet, he can use Mattis in another category, absolutely. But pick a SecDef that meets the criteria. Look, we've held Obama accountable for things and talked about, his bullshit things that he's done for waivers for this or for executive orders for that or whatever. And I'm going to hold Trump to the same standard, particularly if you're talking about civilian oversight for the military and that requisite separation period.
Well, I think we have a civilian who's commander-in-chief, so you do have the civilian who's in charge of the military.
We're talking about the SecDef position.
Okay, then
which is supposed to
why don't they remove that contingency before we go to break? Why don't they just remove that contingency so we'll never have this issue again?
Remove what contingency?
The contingency that they can get a waiver for somebody who's been less than 7 years.
Yes, if you can get a waiver, the logical and cogent argument is that was meant to be taken every once in a while.
In
Here's
extreme
the other thing about the
circumstances.
emotional argument with regard to morale. That's a specious argument. Morale is directly translatable to the efficiency of any productivity that comes from an individual. Good morale yields efficiency and productivity. Poor morale does not. It's not an argument about emotion. It's an argument about how you get the finest productivity of whatever working force you're using.
And you can't tell me that James Mattis is the only person that can boost morale in the United States military.
No, he's not.
But I think he's one of the best ones for it.
But if he's a choice, and he's Trump's choice,
But what I'm saying is, of all the choices, I think he's one of the best ones.
Yes, if the law exists
That's
as
fine,
an
but there are
alternative
other.
to install
Sure there
someone
are,
here,
but I don't think they're the best one.
if the alternative exists for the placement of this person as SecDef, there's a reason for it there. So therefore, are you not abiding by the rule of law? And the answer is, yes, you are. Or that alternative wouldn't be in place.
Well,
I agree, but my distrust is why take those exceptions even when they present themselves. I don't personally like it, and I understand what you're saying about morale, but it does not take the number one or the number two to all of a sudden change morale 100% throughout an organization. It's up to the individual leaders within that organization to change morale and affect change, and that's what leadership is about. And leadership isn't just about one or two people at the top.
Correct.
It's about all the way down the line, and I don't believe James Mattis is the only individual that can bring that out throughout the ranks in order to bring about the best leadership in the military.
But who are the leaders in the military right now? They're all the people that Obama picked.
And need to be cleaned out.
And Obama kicked out the people that were actually effective leaders. One of them was James Mattis.
Forced him out.
And Big Mouth, we're talking about taxes and Trump. We're not talking about leadership of the military or civilian oversight thereof. Different points.
We're up against a break.
You're all wrong.
I'd still like to tell you the story about Mattis when we come back.
I know Clint doesn't want to hear about it. It's emotional. We'll be back right here after the Sackheads Radio Show on the SHR.
Hey, don't say the word feelings then if you don't want that argument.
You knew what I was getting at.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Cap was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
And we're back in the SHR Media Network with the Sackhead.
Oh, man.
Here I was trying to be a smart ass.
And you said sex yak. Sex head.
Screw it up.
Wow, they really beat the ass out of you, didn't they? So, so Clint's on a 5-minute timeout.
Whoa.
Nobody was called.
Whoa. Yeah. Nobody was stolen. Can't do this.
Oh, yeah. Sexhead Radio Show. Exactly. Danny Butcher, the second best newsman in the business. Oh, thank you, sir, for pointing that out. Check out High Plains Pundit, the number one media source for the Sackheads Radio Show and the SHR Media Network. BZ, you care to? You want to try something again, or
we can try and see if it works.
Yeah, I could. If you want to take a time out to regain your thoughts, that's fine. We know at your age it's hard to keep it together. So,
all right, guilty. What were we talking about?
So you did, despite somebody's disagreement with Maddox. There is a great story about the sort of leader that Mattis is, which I think will resonate greatly for morale. And I know you really wanted to tell this story, so I want to give you the chance.
It's not even necessarily a matter of morale, but it speaks volumes as to who this man truly is. And it's called the General Mattis Christmas Story, and it's featured from the National Museum of the Marine Corps Museum, and it comes from their Facebook page. And it goes like this. A couple of months ago, when I told General Krulak, the former Commandant of the Marine Corps, now the chair of the Naval Academy Board of Visitors, and we are having General Mattis speak this evening, he said, "Let me tell you a Jim Mattis story." General Krulak said when he was Commandant of the Marine Corps, every year, starting about a week before Christmas, he and his wife would bake hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Christmas cookies. They'd package them in small bundles. Then on Christmas Day, he'd load his vehicle. At about 4 a.m., General Krulak would drive himself to every Marine Guard post in Washington, Annapolis, and Baltimore in those areas and deliver a small package of Christmas cookies to whatever Marines were pulling guard duty that day. He said that one year he'd gone down to Quantico as one of his stops to deliver Christmas cookies to the Marines on guard duty. He went to the command center and gave a package to the Lance Corporal who was on duty. So he asked, "Who's the officer of the day?" And the Lance Corporal said, "It's Brigadier General Mattis." General Krulak said, No, I know who General Mattis is. I mean, who's the officer of the day today, Christmas Day? Well, the Lance Corporal, feeling a little anxious, said, "Sir, it's Brigadier General Mattis." General Krulak said that about that time, he spotted in the back room a cot or a daybed. And he said, no, Lance Corporal, who slept in that bed last night? And the Lance Corporal said, "Sir, it was Brigadier General Mattis." And about that time, General Krulak said that General Mattis came in a duty uniform with a sword, and General Krulak said, "Jim, what are you doing here on Christmas Day? Why do you have duty?" General Mattis told him that the young officer who had scheduled to have duty on Christmas Day had a family, and General Mattis decided it was better for the young officer to spend Christmas Day with his family, so he chose to have duty on Christmas Day. And General Krulak said, that's the kind of officer that Jim Mattis is. When I read that story, I asked, who is General Jim Mattis? To me, that's all I need to know about the man right there.
Well, and then on top of that, you go into his education and the fact that everything about his military career was extreme. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I definitely think, if nothing else, going into the holiday season, it's a wonderful story to hear and a wonderful story to tell. And like I said, I think he's a great pick, and I'll leave it there. So let's move on, shall we?
Let's.
Somebody dutifully pointed out that Truman got a waiver for his section.
General George Marshall.
Yeah. Truman was a Democrat, right?
Yes, he
Under
was.
Eisenhower? Yeah. Good freaking argument. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. By the way, did you know General Jim Mattis? He's a Democrat.
Wow. I did not know that.
That's an even better argument. Yeah, good job, you guys.
So let's move on to this whole attempted recount segment. Well, we have a little time left here in the show. The Green Party, in no way connected to the Democrats and Hillary Clinton whatsoever, attempted to get a recount in a few states, because when you pull 1% of the vote, you want to make sure you get.
You want to make sure you didn't get 1.07% of the vote. You know what? Screw you guys. I'm glad she's doing it. I think she has standing.
And amazingly, Clinton campaign jumped on a few things as well, and then backed away pretty quickly when they saw the backlash.
Yeah, when they realized that they're actually going to get screwed. Because
even worse.
Now they pissed Trump off again.
Well, and, one of the first things...
And Trump actually made ground.
Yes. Yes. So one of the first things somebody pointed out is, if you're a Democrat, this is the worst idea, because all you're going to do is find the fraud or they're going to find the fraud that your side more than likely instilled into the event,
Yes.
i.e. through bad voting registration, etc. And those votes are going to be counted or thrown out more likely, and you're going to lose even more. Which is why I think they stopped, because he could get close enough to the popular vote that he could win both. The
Right.
separation wasn't there. And the one thing the Democrats are holding on to right now is, well, she
Popular
won
vote.
the popular
The popular
vote.
vote.
She won the popular vote.
Which, in fact, she didn't.
But you have idiots like Sally Field and all the other people out there in Hollywood land. I don't understand how he won when she won the popular vote. You don't understand America.
No, just
Right.
go back, learn to read.
Learn the Constitution
Yeah.
and what a representative republic
And, of course,
is.
a new thing that occurred in Michigan. Michigan said,
Yep, they stopped. They said, nope, you're
yep,
done.
they said, goodbye.
You're done.
And wasn't it also Pennsylvania who was like, yeah, we're not even entertaining this?
And Clinton, and they needed all three states to flip.
Yes,
in order for her
exactly.
to get that, they needed all three.
Yeah, so you
not
lose
just
one. You lose one and you're done.
not two, all three.
But Jill Stein, and you know, I had a friend of mine who earlier tonight who was a Bernie supporter who admitted that he sold out as soon as he supported Hillary. And I want to see if anyone in the Green Party, and I know it's such a small percentage of voters, but feels the same way about Jill Stein once she joined forces with Hillary's people to try to get, because this tells you everything you need to know about who Jill Stein is. She's the same person Bernie was. Well, she's on there to have made Hillary look more like a centrist.
She's doing Hillary Clinton's work.
Dirty work. Yep. And
it wasn't for Jill Stein. It was the women's having the unity for all. I'm sticking with you.
But she had no standing.
No, this shows you exactly who Jill Stein is. She's a Democrat operative who is trying to split out vote. That's all she was. She's there to make Hillary look more like a centrist and garner a few of those Green Party votes.
Go back to the logical thing. Do you think Jill Stein stole Trump votes?
No.
Or do you think she stole Hillary Clinton votes?
No, I think what she did was keep Bernie at bay during the primary, and then you just have to keep her around at that point. I think she kept Bernie at bay in a lot of ways because a lot of Bernie supporters would have gone to Stein based on just the eco beliefs. And the Wall Street beliefs, right? A lot of Bernie supporters knew Hillary was tied into Wall Street huge. And like my friend said tonight, once Bernie turned around and supported Hillary, he's a sellout because she stands against everything that Bernie allegedly stands for, even though they're on the same political spectrum.
Yep.
I think Jill Stein was pushed up by the Democrats to split out or to hurt Bernie and keep him. You look at the amount of fraud that went into Bernie getting beaten, right? We've seen it. We've seen the emails. I think she's another person that was just dropped on, just like Johnson was, to hurt Trump.
They failed to foresee that Bernie Sanders could resonate.
Yes.
And he took off.
Well, and it's, you know what? If all that fraud wasn't in play, and I was talking this to my friend tonight, if all that DNC fraud wasn't in play, you could have seen Bernie actually have taken it. I truly believe that for the DNC.
Well, here's the thing. I talked about this on Jersey Joe's show. I said, California has the motor voter law. So at least 1 million illegal immigrants were given a driver's license.
And the opportunity to vote.
Which is what is required to vote. But California takes it one step further. As soon as you register for your driver's license, you're immediately registered to vote. Obama already said, we're not going to do anything about that if you're illegal, so no problem. Do you think a minimum of 1 million people voted illegally, fraudulently in California? So Trump was right.
Yes.
He was right.
Oh, he absolutely was right.
And here's the thing that's brain-glazingly stupid about it all. You've all heard about the thing where California wants to secede from the Union. If California secedes from the Union, Hillary Clinton, when she comes back next time around in 2020, if she does, won't win. Because all of those people in California that voted for her won't be voting
and
in the other
She'd
country.
be president of California.
And how many Democrats are going to flood to California if that opportunity to truly secede, which it won't happen?
No, it won't happen.
But if it truly was going to happen, how many other Democrats would leave other states to go to California based on principle, and they'd lose their voting base? And
how much of us would leave California?
I'm
be
all
like,
for
have
Cal
at it.
exit. I'm all for Cal exit.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a brilliant
Not
idea.
just but hell yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Bring it on,
and they
baby.
can take New York City with them if they want to be some sort of weird joint country where there's, like we are with Alaska.
That's how
Right.
We have a whole country between us.
That's
Okay,
how
perfect.
stupid the leftists are. They are that stupid.
And then once they realize what a shit show it turns out to be, in order to immigrate back to America would be so bloody difficult. Oh, I say we, yeah. I say we go for it. I think if I'm a right-wing strategist right now, I am throwing a lot of money into Cal exit.
Yeah.
Let them get going, baby.
I open up the first can of gasoline and throw it on that fire. Hell yes.
Because you're going to think all of these snowflakes that we've seen protesting throughout the country, they think that's Mecca, right? That's like their holy land.
Oh, yeah.
California, the land of liberal dreams, the liberal petri dish where liberal ideas go to mutate and grow.
Well, it's a sanctuary state now.
Yes.
I'm going to be real curious to see how Trump addresses
Joseph,
that.
thank you. If Callie didn't exit, we'd have to do an Iron Eagle rescue for the sackheads.
I'm all for it.
We're for it.
My favorite part is you trying to get all three of us in an F-15 Eagle.
That was an F-16.
Oh, it was a
They
16.
were F-16s, the single-seat 16s, yeah.
Fighting Falcons, that's right. But yeah, no, I think you would see. Listen, I think a majority of conservatives in California are looking for that reason to have to leave. Because if you turn around and you were like, "Hey, we're leaving the country," that would be motivation enough, right? A lot of it is like, we're just here. We kind of have to be here for whatever reason. It's all individual,
Right.
Family farms, whatever. But to turn around and you say, yeah, it's going to be a different country. Oh, it would be like the Beverly Hillbillies pulling into Nevada like crazy. You have no idea. People outside California don't have any idea how many mountain people are in California. And they're all conservatives.
Jed's a millionaire.
Yep.
The Kenny
Look-
folks said, Jed, move away from there.
Look at the state of Jefferson.
California is the place you ought to be.
So I'm all for Cal exit.
And we wouldn't
Hell
have to get
yes.
rescued Iron Eagle style because all the guns have been outlawed in California. Just drive in and get us, folks.
So why are we all here? Dan, that answer goes on to a length that we can't get into on the show.
That's a lengthy answer, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, believe me, if we could.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let me put it to you this way: Have you ever heard of the Wolverines?
We're the last stand.
That's right.
We are practically them.
Well, yeah, and in a weird way, Stockholm syndrome too, right? 'Cause
No.
I like fighting.
Yes.
So bad that I like that portion of it. I do enjoy here. I do enjoy fighting with liberals every single day of my life here. It's such a target-rich environment to destroy.
On it. It pisses them all off when I call it occupied California. What do you mean?
Why is it occupied?
By the way, Red Dawn may now be our official movie.
Yes, but only the original.
The original.
Armored taco trucks. Dave said they could come get us in armored taco trucks. Okay, I like that
I'm
better
in.
than the 16. Actually,
I'm in. I actually do too.
Because the thought of three of us in an F-16 seat's a little scary. The thought of three of us in an armored taco truck
is amazing.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
amazing. Hang on a
That's
second.
pretty cool.
I'm having a brainstorm.
Hey, we
Here's
do
what
have
I'm
a lot
thinking.
of food.
Yes,
And a lot of methane.
I'm thinking Freedom Fest. Sacramento to Vegas in an armored taco truck
Taco truck
with a Sackheads wrap
all the way around.
all the way around it.
Damn, I like that.
If you own a taco truck and you're in the greater Sacramento area, please email
contact
And
Sean
you'd like to donate it to the Sackheads.
sackheadsradio@gmail.com or contact at shrmedia.com.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that would be amazing.
This has been a great show.
Oh, it's been a blast. Apocalypse Now is not our official movie. It's Red Dawn.
It is Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn.
Oh, yeah. No, the original Red Dawn was awesome.
Yeah.
There was so many great people in that movie,
Has
too.
to be the one with Patrick Swayze.
Yes, the sways. You need the sways.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. Oh, different movie.
Yeah, Road. I think they should have said that. He should have said that in every movie.
He should have said that in every movie.
Hey, yeah, you know what? Jersey Joe brought this up in the chat room, and I know we have a couple minutes left, but back to Cabinet really quick. Linda McMahon, former co-founder of the WWE.
I still call it WWF.
In the Small Business Administration, to head the Small Business Administration.
I just want to see her off the top turnbuckle. Just so.
Her and Nancy Pelosi.
Yes.
Cage match.
Matchup. We haven't had a sackhead matchup in a while, but that one. By the way, did you see Joe Biden said he was going to run in 2020?
Yes.
Please do it, Joe.
We miss you.
We miss you.
I miss him already.
Please do it. You know what that tells me? If he's really going to do it, he's going to be relevant over the next 4 years. And we're going to have some freaking Joe-isms to talk about.
Yeah, but he's not really going to be relevant.
But he'll be there for us to talk about.
I actually think it's a really, really good pick. Listen, for anyone who doesn't realize, the WWF at the time came from a really small wrestling organization. And yes,
I think it was the RWO, the really small wrestling organization, right?
The SHR Bitchin' Tour 2017, if we rent the taco truck. That's a great name, Kel. Thank you.
I'm down.
And she helped build that business once Vince McMahon took over and made it pretty huge.
You know, if I had a lot of money, I'd go out right now, this week.
Are we back to an armored taco truck?
I'd buy a taco truck.
All right, so we just won't even talk about the small business thing anymore.
I'd wrap that sucker.
We're so stuck on the taco truck.
Well,
God, I'd do that.
You get one of those step side vans.
Look,
like
we
the
need a
old ice cream
GoFundMe for a taco truck.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, what a tremendous
That's an
waste of
idea.
money.
That's an idea. Its time has come.
Go fund me for the SHR Media Taco Truck.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
Don't forget
Armored taco truck.
I'll tweet that out right now.
But it can't be
This is
like
great.
professional armor. It has to be like Mr. T in the A-Team armor, right? We need to have like diamond plate grating all over it.
Oh yeah, and it has to be all cobbled together.
But we shoot tacos. That's going to be that.
Do you mean that in a dirt? Does this
No,
go back
no,
to
no,
Sex
no,
Ed
something
Radio
totally
again?
different. No,
because
no.
I'm down for that.
No, it's we can use a compressed air gun to shoot tacos out of it.
Oh, literally.
Or burritos.
Burritos.
Yes.
They'd fit.
Yes. Nice and round,
Yes,
soft.
right.
You push them down.
What are we talking about?
Grease the tube up. I think
What are we
it's
talking
about? Exactly. Agador Dave, thank you so much. Today,
That's
the
right.
taco truck. Tomorrow, the aircraft carrier.
People don't understand
and
that
we
we are
will put the
serious.
truck on the aircraft carrier.
And launch
Wait
it.
a minute, wasn't it Dave's idea for the armored taco truck? Isn't he the originator of
He
the
does.
idea?
Oh, you
we have
weren't-
to give him credit.
You weren't around. Oh, no, we'll have a picture of Agador on the side of it. Are you kidding me?
Hang on a second. Do you guys realize Kenneth McClinton is still awake?
Wow, he's awake.
Either that or his elbow hit the L and the O button because they're so close together on the keyboard.
I thought it was his forehead.
And folks, as a public service reminder, we want to put narcolepsy to bed here on the SHR Media Network. No, we can't launch the taco truck off of it.
I bet we could fly the taco truck.
We could. Ooh.
We could put wings on that bad boy and see how far
Get
we
an
could
old
glide it.
intruder
Yes.
to launch off of it.
You know, I don't know
that
if we could
delivers taco bombs.
I don't know if we could do an intruder because that was one of the we never exported the A6 platform.
Oh, we did not, did we?
Nope. Either the electronic version, the 4-seat version, or the attack version, the 2-seat.
Oh, right, the Prowler.
Hold on, there's already something on Facebook. I'm pulling it up now. On Facebook.com, Dan Butcher just posted the best idea for the armored taco truck. I like it.
Oh, that's glorious. I just saw the picture.
Yes, you should be able to. Yeah, we'll show it. You should be able to click on Clint's to show it to him. Maybe not because
It's not a touch screen.
It's not a touch screen. But BZ, we only have 2 minutes left. Because you're new to the network, Clint and I have been talking for years, back to our Blog Talk days.
Literally, when you got your little boat.
Yes, we started talking about how
Boat?
I pulled a small little 14-foot Chrysler walk-around that was made in like the 60s from a friend for free. And we were talking about that we were going to turn it into a mini PT boat.
Yes.
Oh, right. The SHR Navy.
Yes. At the time, there was no SHR. It was just sackheads.
Right. It was just
we were
sackheads.
just sackheads. We weren't SHR.
So
at
now
that
we're
point.
going back 5 years now with this idea.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just
Navy.
going to float it up and down the Sacramento River.
river.
So then we said, well, wait a minute. What if we flat top it,
Yep.
turn it into an aircraft carrier, and use RC planes off the top of the deck and make a miniaturized version?
We need to find this episode and repost it.
Oh, I don't even know.
Because it was amazing. We went on for a good 30 minutes,
on
and
what-
the idea just got bigger and bigger. But then we were talking about having like a fleet of these boats, some PT, and some aircraft carriers. And
PT boats, aircraft cruisers.
having
just buy
like-
all these little 14-foot open bow walk-arounds.
having like water balloons slung on the RC planes and like going. It was a whole thing.
So then it didn't stop there because like 2 shows later we were talking about Ron Paul and the Letters of Marque when piracy was going crazy.
Yes, we did.
And how we want at that
And we
point,
found the constitutional provision.
we did find the constitutional
yep.
provisional for it. It said, okay, if they're going to give out Letters of Marque, we need to get our hands on an old aircraft carrier.
Yep.
Obtain a Letters of Marque and start sailing around the Somalia.
Right.
No, we talked about
and make
this.
it and make it like a tour, right? People could come on the
Yes.
boat and watch us hunt pirates with the Letter of Marque, and of course we'd be broadcasting the Sackheads radio show the whole time. We had it all figured out. We just
and
needed
the ship was too big for them to actually take over.
Right, so
like
we
we
just-
just sail away and flip them the middle finger.
We have the papers. It's legal.
right. No, we would go full Bugs Bunny and drop anvils off the side.
Yeah.
That was our plan for it. We just needed the funding.
We need to find that episode.
We gotta find that. That is a Sackheads way back right there. Oh man, folks, that's
old diesel aircraft carrier.
just blowing black smoke, just gussing out the top. It would be awesome.
You know that truck, if you actually bought that truck and made it a taco truck, you'd make thousands and
millions.
thousands of dollars. People would flock to that thing.
You know
Yes.
what? I do have an idea, and this is a serious idea. When Trump becomes president, I think SHR Media needs to apply for a letter of marque. Even though we don't have a freaking boat, I want a letter of marque.
If you did a GoFundMe at that point, watch how quickly you'd come up with a boat, a crew, everything else. Oh God, yeah.
I want a sack. I want to see if we can get a letter of marque to SHR Media and frame it and put it right up here in the studio.
Real quick about the anvils.
We're over, Tom.
We're over. Dave's saying we could use a magnetic acceleration to launch anvils. No, old-fashioned catapults.
Yes.
Old-fashioned.
Yeah.
We're going to make it sports.
Literally.
Steam.
Yeah.
Sporting, yes. Steam. Steam
No, not
catapults.
steam. No, like
No,
like
old-fashioned
wood.
weighted sling-top catapults.
Wood. I'm talking like wooden wheels too.
Load like just 100-pound anvils in and just start firing at it.
You know what we should like on the? So we should like ramp the end of the aircraft carrier like they do in France, right? Because they can't freaking take off
With the
straight.
lift.
With the the ramp that goes
Yeah,
up the end,
the lift.
and with the steam catapult, like push big ass boulders and just launch those at them.
Or like the video of the Enterprise putting an old car on the
Yes.
cat and
Yes.
launching it.
Yes.
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 That's what you need
Now,
to do.
You think about if you get an aircraft carrier and a Letters of Marque, how much money you could make just bringing people around. Oh, people
Oh,
would
yeah.
go crazy for it.
Oh yeah.
Crazy for it.
And
And
the-
then if you actually go hunt pirates,
Oh, yeah.
even better.
Right.
Oh, God.
Right. Not the baseball team.
Right. And by the way, this is patent pending.
Yes.
This entire idea. So
That's right.
anyone
Don't
else who
steal it.
uses it is a thief,
Yeah. Dirty thief.
folks. This is
But hang on, one more thing
Yes.
we have talked about,
No,
which
go
I
ahead.
love this idea. When we become president,
yeah. Okay.
we're gonna get the USS Constitution out, and we're gonna sail
One
it.
pirate.
One pirate. We're gonna fire the cannon one time
Yep.
in a war zone, and then sail it right back home.
Just to bring
Just
it,
to say.
just to stretch its
Or
legs.
sail it to Tripoli.
Yes.
Yes. Just
Bring it back
say.
to where it was.
Yep. Fire one shot in anger in a combat zone and fire right back that way, and then put the battle flag on that. Right. So it fought in the War of 1812, and it fought in the War of
Operation Enduring
Yeah.
Freedom.
Operation Enduring Freedom. How amazing would that be,
Dude.
What did it fire? Fired a cannon.
Yeah. Took out one of the pirate dinghies.
Like a 15-pounder.
Right. Took out an Iranian speedboat.
Whatever. Or nothing.
So, yeah, that's a good point. Nothing. Folks,
okay,
that's...
sail me close to land. I think I can hit that camel. Okay, do it.
I just picture like an empty lawn chair, like a beach chair, and like some guy's wife walks away and he's just sitting there drinking something, and all of a sudden he just hears the kaboom! And the lawn chair explodes next to him. But because he lives in Tripoli, he doesn't even react to it. Right. He just keeps drinking.
Or you could launch a 1975 Mercury Marquis at them.
Yugos.
With the Landau
We'll
top.
load up on ammunition full of Yugos. We'll line them up on the deck by the hundreds. Folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show on the
Damn, I had a good time.
December 2016.
This is a great show. Did we even talk about anything?
Nothing.
No, not really.
Make sure you go to shrmedia.com. Click on the Patriots Walk. The GoFundMe's there. Donate, please. Leave comments right now. Leave a few comments of words of encouragement to the guys. They are checking it. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific.
It'll be grand.
Grand. Hey, next week, 3 shows are starting. Morning Drive with Ralph Chittims.
Oh, that's right. Right. That's in the morning, right?
Just before Jersey
Hence
Joe.
the name.
Very, very excited.
Thank you.
In the afternoon,
I
Lonnie
would expect no
Poindexter
less.
and Shannon will be doing the afternoon drive. And then on Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, you're going to have the Berserk Ballroom.
Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
There, damn it! Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
You said ball cap.
Yes, I did. With
Berserk Bulk.
This is the Sex-Ed Radio Show.
Change it to the Berserk Bulkap Saloon.
With the bloviating Zeppelin himself, he is going to be unleashed.
This will be grand.
On the airwaves as well. So 3 great shows starting next week right here on the Sackheads Radio Show. We will see you next week. And again, thank you to everybody who served in World War II from Pearl Harbor and on are forever in your debt.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack Duke. Sack Duke.
Radio.
Sack Duke. Sack Duke.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
Silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.